Two Democrats on the primary ballot hoping to unseat Republican Susan Collins in the U.S. Senate. For months, that focus has been on the race between Governor Janet Mills and oyster farmer Graham Plattner.
Well, now that Mills is out, there's another player in this race. Bonnie Bishop sits down with David Costello, who shares why his past experiences make him the best choice in the race.
If you get elected,
yeah,
she gonna make a trip to D.C.?
Well, she'd have to.
If you're in Brunswick, you might find David Costello out walking his dog, a 14-year-old named Stella.
Oh, yeah, she's in charge.
But before a sassy beagle came into the mix, Costello grew up in Old Town in a working-class family, later traveling the country as a young adult for Ted Kennedy's presidential campaign. Costello worked in Haiti and Cambodia with USAID before landing a job as a top aide for the governor of Maryland. He and his wife raising 4 children.
You think back to how wonderful it is to just have kids, you know, and all of the stuff they bring.
David Costello has worked around the world, but now he's looking to the nation's capital for his next job, senator.
I think that broad range of governing experience is something that's sorely needed in Washington.
He's not new to running for Senate. He lost to independent Senator Angus King back in 2024.
If I thought Washington was broken back in 2024, you can imagine what I think now.
Costello now trying to unseat 5-term Senator Susan Collins.
I just think my experience is where I've dealt with environmental challenges, where I've dealt with neighborhoods in crisis or countries in crisis in a more hands-on governing approach or way, that contrasts very sharply with her government experience.
But before he can face the senator, Costello must primary against oyster farmer Graham Plattner this June. Even when Governor Janet Mills was still in the race, Costello says he tried to keep out of their back and forth.
I'm really trying to be that, quite frankly, that alternative candidate who can appeal very broadly and is focused, laser focused on doing what we need to do to change the system to get important work done for working families in Maine as well as elsewhere.
Costello says he knows he's the lesser-known candidate in the race, but
I think I'm the person who can win the most or broadest support, and that I think the establishment would be very comfortable with the fact of my background and experience.
On affordability, Costello says it's one of his main focuses of his platform.
There are 2 ways to approach affordability. One is to lower costs, right, for a family, and the other is to increase wages or income. So I really try to focus on, well, what do we do to do both in tandem?
He's looking to bring down the cost of medical coverage with universal health care.
It makes a lot of sense economically, and it's certainly, if we have the right kind of health care program, it's comprehensive. It covers, it's Medicare for all with comprehensive care, vision, hearing, prescription drugs, long-term care, mental health care, all of it.
He says immigration is a global issue that the United States can't solve alone, and that ICE needs to be reformed.
I certainly think it would lead to a considerable reduction in the amount of money going to ICE, and money would be better spent elsewhere.
As Mainers cast their vote, Costello wants them to know.
I've seen an awful lot growing up in Maine. I've learned a lot through my experience in government as well as my education. And I would like to take all of that knowledge and all of the experiences I've had, lived as well as work experiences, and work on behalf of people in Maine and the United States.
The Democratic primary for Senate is on June 9th. In Brunswick, I'm Bonnie Bishop for Commitment 2026.